What's going on, everybody? How we doing out there? Welcome to another installment of Analytically Correct. As with you as always, your boy Brettigans, your boy Marty, our awesome producer Stretch, and on behalf of the Traveling Drunks, thank you guys very much for hanging out with us. We're here at Public House, which is conjoined with Shamrock's Liquors, here on University in Alafaya, right behind the Applebee's, which you don't want to go to anyway because it's Applebee's. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us as always. We really do appreciate it. Right out the gate, I think Marty will kind of let you know exactly what we're going to go through while I tag people, and then we'll go ahead and get into it.
Yeah, so just like usual, we're going to start off with a couple of topics that we talked about before we started, just like as a jumping off point. Obviously, like the big news of the day that kind of overshadowed the start of the tournament. Mike Trout just signed a gigantic contract. His agent just dunked all over Scott Boras and whoever Manny Machado's agent is too. But yeah, we'll start off with that, and then we'll kind of go into NCAA tournament. My favorite sporting event of the year. I like it more than the Super Bowl, more than the NBA Finals, all that good stuff. We'll probably just start with the contract, and then the tournament. We'll do our brackets, we'll do our picks, and then from there, I think we'll kind of just go where you guys comment. Brett always says it's the People's Podcast, so whatever you guys
People's Podcast. Thank you very much.
That's how you say it.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot about a lot of
Thank you
things.
very much. No, that was on me. Well done.
So,
I'm glad you brought it up.
So yeah, we'll just start with those two main topics, and then wherever you guys want to go from there. So just my whole take on the Mike Trout contract. It seemed to me, I mean, right off the bat, it's a ton of money. It's a lot of years, but it's the best player in baseball. Top 5 in MVP voting ever since he's been in the league. I don't think it's crazy to say he's a good deal better than Machado and Harper. And is he younger than both of those guys as well?
Sorry, I got mesmerized by fucking Jose, and anybody who knows Jose knows that it's going to be an interesting day if he fucking calls you out. So. Jose asked if we could do a car bomb, so I apologize. My liver quivered. Who are we talking about now?
Mike Trout.
Okay, awesome.
I was just saying, as far as I don't think it's crazy to say that he's a good deal better than Harper and Machado. And I was going to ask you, I'm not sure, is he younger? I'm pretty sure he's younger than both of those guys, right?
I would say. Yeah.
If I had to, I guess we should have looked it up in the time we had before this, but it's not what we do around here. So
right,
we'll go with yes.
We give you opinions.
We'll go with yes. My opinion is that he's younger. If you have a fact to discredit me, feel free to comment in. My feelings won't be hurt. I'm going to say he's younger. The deal ends when he's 39, so it's not going to be like the Pujols deal where like he's out there at over 40 and he's not producing anything. I mean, it's pretty much a lifetime contract. My take was it makes sense for the team. The only thing that I was thinking about is what reason did Trout have to sign it this early, 2 years out? Because it seemed to me if he would have gone to free agency, he could have got something like $500 million. Baseball is obviously not salary cap, so he could have got more. It seems like he's the kind of guy who's like, I just want to get the contract over with. I don't want the whole free agency dog and pony show. I'm just going to get my 400 and whatever million and then just play baseball for the rest of my career and be awesome. And then for the only thing I can think about why it came at this time, after the Machado and the Harper signings, it kind of seemed like they were waiting to set the market with those, and it says like right here pretty much 30% more than both of those guys. So it's like his agent just said, whatever they got, I want 30% more. We're not going to go through this whole like off season of who's going to get signed where. He wants to play here, and let's just get it done now and play baseball, which I think a lot of baseball fans and old school baseball fans can get behind.
That's insane.
It's kind of
Trout is 1 year older than both?
Well,
I would not have guessed that at all.
Somebody else's opinion. So, well, I guess because Harper came in when he was so young, because Harper was like 19.
Fuck Wikipedia.
18 when he came in, right?
Yeah, with that stupid ass fucking war paint that he thought that he was so cool. Honestly, that might be the main reason why I hate him is the way that he came into the league. I should like this guy. Like, he wants to make the league fun. He wants to do all this shit. Like, he cares about the game. He truly does. But the fact that the way that he came into the game, I fucking hated it.
Do you think people hate more about the war paint or about the hair? Because you know he flicks the helmet off on purpose. I mean, everybody. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. Everybody knows he does it on purpose.
I hate both of those things.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do.
So.
But yeah, there's not a ton more to say. He got more than Harper, way more than Harper, Machado. If you know anything about boxing or like fighting sports, Canelo had the highest contract in sports, and Trout got $65 million more than that. So maybe that was something the agent was going for as well. It's a pretty entertaining. We were curious because we all know Scott Boras, Drew Rosenhaus, those kind of agents. His agent was Craig Landis. So we're like, oh, before the show, we're like, let's look this guy up and see what he's all about. His third picture on Google Images is him just going like this to the camera. So I guess that explains pretty much who he is.
Because he probably had so many people saying, "Who the fuck is Craig Landis?"
And he's like, this is who I am right here.
Yeah. So there's that. Tate Bond says he feels the same way.
He kind of shut down Bryce Harper's whole recruiting pitch, I guess. That didn't really last too long.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, guy.
And pretty much any other fan who had hopes of getting him in free agency, just 2 years out, let me just sign this. And if you want me when I'm 39, call me then.
I think for me, one of the interesting things is, okay, so I'm a little bit torn here. I love the fact that the Angels said that, look, we're getting the best player in the game. Let's go ahead and lock him up right now. Boom. I find it very hard to find fault in that, in my opinion. However, one thing that I chime on or chirp on a lot of the time is how these major players, which I've been saying this many times before, they take these massive contracts and then they complain when upper management can't support them or surround them with equally talented, not equally talented players, you know what I mean? Like go and get really good players in free agency, quote unquote, all those things. That being said, and I'm getting a little bit on tangent, I apologize. That being said, this contract isn't for 3 years, so it's not like you have to, for however X million, and you have to sign these players in the next 2 years. This is for 12 fucking years. So although they do have a shit ton of money invested in the best player on the planet in baseball, it leaves you a lot of time to, quote unquote, bring players in my opinion. Please let me know if I'm wrong. I would love to hear your opinions on that. We'd love to hear your opinions on that. I just think, in my opinion, I think that is a great point. I know a lot of people are saying bad things about these 12 and 13-year contracts. You could get in a tiff with an owner in 2 years or fucking this year, and all of a sudden, man, I really wish I would have signed a 4-year contract so all I had to do was dickhead for 4 fucking years. 12-year contracts are fucking 12-year contracts.
It would seem to be that if this one doesn't work out, then none of them will ever work out. If it doesn't work out for this guy, it's never going to work out because Mike Trout, I mean, you're getting a guy the first 5 years in the league. I think I said it already. He's in the top 5 of MVP voting. So the counter argument I would say to any owner or GM saying we have all this money tied up in this guy, how are we supposed to build around him? You have a perennial MVP candidate. Figure it out. You know how many teams would love to have one of those guys and figure the rest of it out?
Cubs have 3.
Yeah. I would say figure it out at that point. And then at the same time, you're the owner. You obviously signed off on this, so there's no excuse. If you're going to build around a guy like this, I get there has to be a counter argument to each side. And then it says right here, I should have looked at it. It's right in my face. He's 27, so we're the same age. So that's depressing. But
no worries.
He's doing all right. But yeah, I think we covered both sides of that. The only negative side that you think anybody could say is that the 12-year contracts, 13-year contracts have never worked out. We'll wait and see. I think if it doesn't work for him, I don't know if teams will continue to do it. Yeah.
I think you say you did know. You're like, this is going to be it. If this doesn't work out, they won't do it, period.
I think that's how it should be. Like, if it doesn't...
That's what you said would happen.
All right, yeah. Well, but the way things should be and the way things are not always... Like, just because it's the right thing to not give these contracts away anymore, you're always going to have a San Diego out there who's like, oh, we'll still pull the trigger on it. And
okay, so it will happen again.
Well, I mean, by the time this contract's over...
This beer down, I love it.
But I didn't really think about this, the way I'm trying to say it and the way it's in my head. If it doesn't work out for Trout and he starts like losing production, and it's quite obvious that if Trout can't stay productive that late in his career, why would you give anybody the money? Then it seems like teams shouldn't do that anymore. It doesn't mean that they won't. Like I said, you'll have a San Diego out there. You'll have like a team like that, or like the Phillies, who's like, oh, we'll spend the money and then we'll eat the last half of the contract just to have the best player in baseball for the first half.
Okay.
I'm just saying, if it doesn't work for him, it's proven that you shouldn't do it, but it doesn't mean that people won't do it.
Okay.
That's kind of
glad we clarified that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's clear at this point, but I tried. I did my best. I think that's pretty much both sides of that. You can't hate your team signing the contract for Trout. The other side,
No, absolutely.
The other side is the handcuff of the 12 years and the $430 million. If you want, we can.
Tough to say handcuff with Mike Trout, isn't it? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's so tough to say handcuff with Mike fucking Trout.
It's also not a salary cap sport, and I know there's a luxury tax, and these guys only have so much money that they wanna spend.
Owning it stretch.
Why? What was his opinion about it?
No, because that's what Boston did. They said, fuck the luxury tax. We're gonna pay the highest luxury tax in the history of baseball, which only goes back to 1886, and they won the World Series, so they don't even care. They're like, fuck it, if we win a World Series, we're gonna pay.
Yeah. Do you think the owner is, after they win the World Series, is he thinking about the World Series, or is he thinking about, oh wow, that just cost me a ton of money?
Think about the World Series.
At the end of the day, these teams, even the worst teams in baseball, are making money. So you might be paying a luxury tax, but for a lot of these guys and these owners, this is like their second venture. Like, this is not most teams, this is not most owners' like primary source of income. It's like they got rich doing something else and they bought a team. So I wouldn't really worry about that. I mean, like this thing we were saying about handcuffing. It's not a luxury it's not a salary cap sport. So if you want to spend more money and you're close, then spend on the pitcher or spend on whoever else you need to get.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say figure it out.
No, figure it out. Kind of back to what we were both saying about, like, okay, well, if you can spend the money, then fuck it. Like, just get the best team and worry about the luxury tax later. Wouldn't that be so fucking nice for 75% of the league? Like, you think the Rays and even go all the way up to the Reds are saying the same thing? Like, yeah, no shit, fucking asshole, analytically correct bitches.
But
like,
then,
if we had that money, we would do the same thing. It's not like they just thought of, you know what, would be fucking great is if we just spent every dollar on the planet and won a World Series and worried about it later. Right. I'm not calling you out, or it sounds like I'm getting aggressive.
No,
I'm just
that's fine.
On my own point is what I'm saying.
But then at the same time, if you look at it every year, there's teams in the playoffs who are not in the top 10 of spending or payroll.
I won't say every year, but I mean,
there are teams that make the playoffs every year that are in like the bottom third. So the Astros, when they did it, I don't think they were very high. The Rays, like you said, have been in the playoffs. Their fans just don't ever support them.
They're not even in Tampa. That's a whole.
But it's
that's
not.
A whole
what I'm saying is, it's not impossible in baseball. Like if it was just whoever spent the most money every year, the Yankees would just win, or the Red Sox would win every year. If you're a general manager and you're saying, "Oh, we don't have enough money to spend," like poor me. Well, that's your job, is to figure it out. If you're the
that's what you tell them. If you're the GM if you're a Billy Bean back in the day, and you told your fans, well, you see, the Yankees don't win every year, so it's okay if I don't spend money. That's what you're saying.
There's a difference of not having money to spend and not spending any money. Like, we're
agreement on that.
Yeah, if you're a team like the Tigers, you don't have as much money to spend as like the Yankees or the Red Sox. But if you're a team like the Marlins, you're just not spending any money that you have to spend.
Well, that's a totally different point, but yes, you're not incorrect on that at all.
But what I'm saying is, just because these teams can't spend like the Yankees or the Red Sox, I mean, you just saw the Padres give out a huge contract to a free agent.
Wonder who could have called that one.
Teams could do it if they wanted to. So, I mean, blame your owner. Don't blame, like, we're in a small market.
Well, the Padres also were saving for a long time. You can't tell me that the Reds right now couldn't spend a dime. The Cubs can't spend $1 right now. We have so many players.
Yeah, but you already have a good team, though.
But we really haven't paid Hobby. Haven't paid Schwarber. Thank God. We were going to have to pay Addison Russell, but it sounded like I said thank God that bad things happened to him. I didn't mean that, but because the circumstances around his thing are not good at all. I can't fucking believe we re-signed that piece of shit. I hope he does awful and we fucking trade him when we get a bag of baseballs, because that's fucking fine on my watch, because that guy's fucking sucks. But yeah, we really haven't paid Contreras yet either. The only people who we really have paid are Rizzo. And really haven't like given a shit ton to Bryant. We paid Bryant, but he'll demand a huge one as well.
Yeah,
a huge one contract. Lester we signed a decent amount too. Fucking you, Darvish, we signed a big contract too.
If we're gonna go into like deep inside of our own team's prospects and finances, the Tigers' best pitcher, who probably a lot of people don't even know who it is, Michael Fulmer, has Tommy John.
He's not your best pitcher.
Who's better than him?
Zimmerman.
I mean,
Zimmerman's better than Fulmer. I don't even watch the Tigers.
I don't know. It's at least close. But anyways, he's getting Tommy John.
That sucks.
Yeah, whatever. We sucked either way. So I just saw that today, and I was like, oh, good. Another good Detroit sports update for me. The hits keep coming.
So,
did you want to seamlessly segue into college basketball picks.
Right before
brackets,
that, I'm going to do something really quick. In case you're only paying attention to the early podcast, if you just don't have time to, I really want to say this thing. This is going to be a really, really cool thing that's happening. Next week, same time, we're going to have a special guest. It's going to be my brother. If you watch or if you tune in any of the comments on our website, he's probably the one being the most abrasive, or some might say asshole-ish. He's my brother. I can say that. Whatever. But no, he's awesome. He knows his shit. He's going to be on next week. It's going to be the three of us. Shit's gonna go down. He might wear a referee jersey. We're not quite sure what's gonna happen, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to have it. The fireworks are gonna fucking go off next week because no one gets me worked up like that asshole. So
you might have an arm wrestle breakout, or
it'll be the longest arm wrestle in the history of arm wrestling. It'll just kind of be at a
stage right there. You might have like a Greco-Roman wrestling match, something like that.
We might. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I'd rather a verbal one because he'll probably kick the shit out of me if he gets physical. But either way, that being said, please tune in next week. It's gonna be a fucking blast. I just hope for my man's safety right here because he'll probably be sitting in the middle of the two of us. But anyways, so that being said, that big announcement. Transitioning into your favorite time of the year.
Yeah,
go ahead and announce it.
I love it's March Madness. It's college basketball when everyone starts watching. It's my favorite. I told him earlier it's my favorite sporting event of the year. If I had the money, I would request off all 4 days and just sit there in my own filth and watch college basketball for 48 hours. I had a tradition a couple years ago when I was a lesser man.
Speaking of sitting in your own filth. I had a tradition. Go ahead.
when I was a lesser man, not by much, but just by a little bit, I'd buy a 24-pack of Natural Light, 2 Little Caesars $5 pizzas because I was that poor. It's like, you want pizza? It's Little Caesars. You want pizza or you don't? And I would just sit there all day, and for 12. It starts at around 11:45 and it ends with the West Coast games around 12 hours later. And if you love basketball, just in general, there's some bad basketball, but either way, it's close games, it's good finishes, buzzer beaters, upsets, all that kind of good stuff. Mostly everybody fills out a bracket. It's my favorite time. I wish I would have looked up the exact stat, but I was talking to him earlier, and it was like something about billions of dollars are lost in this country due to lack of productivity. And it's not something I'm making up. There's like an article you can look up where people are less productive during it. There's more money bet on the March Madness tournament than the Super Bowl.
Without a doubt.
Yeah,
I mean, granted, Super Bowl's one day.
Yeah, not
and
even
this
just. But people also watch the NFL a lot more than college basketball. People only really most people, maybe not that watch this.
There's 32 teams in the NFL, and there's 327
right, yeah,
teams in D1.
Maybe not people that watch this podcast, but like generally people filling out brackets don't know any teams past the 3 line. Or like team.
UCF's an 8.
Yeah, UCF's an 8 seed. They also kind of got screwed on that one, just for like a local take on it. They have a really good team. The team that won their conference is Houston. Houston's a 3 seed, and UCF beat them once, lost once. I think UCF only lost like 1 game at home, and they wound up getting like, was it 8 or 9 seed?
8.
Right?
They got an 8 seed, but UCF ended Houston's. Correct me if I'm wrong here. And Houston's 32-game home win streak, which is the longest in the country at the time.
Yeah,
the longest in the country.
So
that's pretty awesome.
So they've beaten a team that the committee is saying is good enough to be a 3 seed. So
correct.
If you're UCF fans
on the road.
Yeah, if you're UCF fans, no, you're right. If you're UCF fans around here, there's a reason to watch. They're an 8 seed, but if you watch the tournament, there's been 8 seeds that make it pretty far. There's been 6 seeds that make it to the championship game. Let me see. I have it pulled up here. Who their first matchup is. I will say before I even find out who their first matchup is, if you guys do win, you're playing Duke. So that kind of shuts down a lot of the hope right there. Yeah, it's VCU. Stretch is right.
Apparently, JD says that they're a 9 seed.
Yeah, they're the 9. VCU's the 8.
I don't know what the official version of tomato is, but
yeah.
I mean, if you got to play Duke afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, it would. That being said, they would probably be like a 20-point underdog in that game, but it would be really awesome in this area. In general, if they did beat Duke.
Oh, God help everyone here. I won't be able to get to work because there'll just be strings of fire of me like California.
They put up another national championship banner. It's like, forget the rest of the tournament, national champs, write it up in the hang a banner. I mean, not to go too far inside the UCF thing. If they were to be, I can't even believe I'm saying this, but if they were to be Duke, they'd only have to play like Mississippi State or Liberty or Virginia Tech. So UCF is just a VC.
Oh no, they'll have to play St. Louis University. SLU.
Yeah.
Let them know about it.
This is where the brackets start going sideways. But if they did, they wouldn't have to. If all you have to do is beat the #1 overall seed, best team in the country with 3 out of the top 4 NBA draft picks, and you got a clear shot to be in the Sweet 16. So there's a reason to watch for people around here. Did you want to go over? We don't have to.
I would like to go over our Elite 8 because I think shit would go down because we're already. We got my brother. Tate said they would erect a statue of Taco Fell immediately after if they do. How much would that cost the taxpayers? I want to know. Like,
who cares? It's worth it.
Is this made out of like what's that little Japanese thing where you like with the little tree that you trim all the time? Is that like a bonsai or is it gonna be iron? Does he even start? That dude is awful.
He does start. No, he's not awful. He's good. He's not awful. He's gonna go in the NBA draft. It'll be in the second round, but he will. And it would be made out of balsa wood because he's definitely going to get injured during that game. They did a sports science, John Brinkus did, and
I bet you,
he said Zion going down the lane is the same power as a Jeep going 10 miles an hour.
I bet you $50 Taco does not get drafted. I mean, you might as well because you already have 100 on Michigan winning the national championship versus me. So you might as well make 50 back, right?
It's just money, fuck it.
Love it. Boom. Boom.
You're saying nobody's going to draft a 7'6" guy?
He's the 5th best starter on his own team.
All right, I'm just saying people draft 7'6" guys and figure it out.
That is true. Yeah, Sean Bradley was 7'6". 7'6".
If you have the 32nd pick or the 30th pick in the or the 60th pick in the NBA draft,
he'll figure it out.
Yeah, the 15th, 30. If you have the 60th pick, you just take the 7'6" guy and figure it out. And then he'll start, and he'll be on the Warriors bench, and then he'll.
How about this for you? If he is the last pick in the draft, we'll double it, make it 100. Not for
but
you
I
to
don't
lose.
have to.
Exactly. if he's the last pick in the draft, I owe you $100.
What do I got to lose? Yeah.
Just because I think it'd be fucking hilarious if I had to lose $100 based on the one.
It comes up to the last pick, and he's not drafted yet, and then it comes up that he's drafted. Yeah.
I'll lose my shit. Or someone trades up for it.
And I'm definitely in the minority on that one because I've looked at mock drafts and everything, and he's not in any of them. I just feel like a 7'6" guy, someone's going to draft him.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and let's go with your
Elite 8.
I really want. If we can do it, let's do a quick Elite 8, boom, boom, boom. But then we'll touch on both Final Fours.
Yeah, I think this
because the Elite 8 is gonna be too tight. No, not Sweet 16. Elite because Elite 8 can get some crazy shit in there.
Yeah.
Let's do a very quick. Just go 1 through 8, and then I'll say my 1 through 8, and then we'll go Final Four. We'll figure it out.
And we're in a bracket group together with some of the people that are also in our listening. Not that they're gonna steal the picks, but I mean, so I have. In the East region, I have Duke coming out, not UCF, surprisingly. I have Duke coming out and Michigan State. And then West region, I have Michigan and Gonzaga. Big surprise there. And let me see. South region, I have, where it is, where's the 8? Virginia and Tennessee, sorry. And North Carolina and Kentucky. So it's mostly chalk.
So you have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's all right. You never know. 2 years ago, it was all #1 seeds. So.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize I had that. Yeah, I might have to change something up. But that's what I have right now. I mean, I'm just going by who I think is going to win each game. I could pick an upset just for the sake of picking it, but everyone I have in there is, like, I have Michigan, not to take too much time, I have Michigan State beating Yale. Because I don't think anyone after the 2 seeds.
Yeah, Yale beating LSU and then Maryland. Oh man.
Yeah, I mean LSU.
Oh, I like it. I'm not calling you out. That's awesome. You need those picks.
LSU's coach is going to jail.
I got Oregon beating Wisconsin as well. You're good stuff.
Yeah, LSU's coach is going to jail allegedly. Maryland is not great, so I mean I might as well take a chance there.
LSU might have one of the top 5 picks in the whole draft. They're fucking big boy down. That guy is a fucking monster. Well, he's an absolute animal who can shoot threes. I don't understand why no one else is talking about
it. It just makes you think too that if they're here now, how did they not go there with Ben Simmons? Like how bad was the rest of the team around him when Ben Simmons doesn't even make it to the tournament?
I would say the SEC is a good basketball conference, but they're not. So I would love to say that, but they're not.
Yeah.
Other than our boys Kentucky, who single-handedly year after year save us from being just the worst conference of all time. Tennessee's normally pretty good. Florida's normally pretty good.
Tennessee was going to get a 1 seed this year, I think.
It was between them and North Carolina.
Yeah. Well, North Carolina got the 3rd number 1 seed. Gonzaga
did they?
Gonzaga got the 4th, yeah.
I thought it was on. I'm sorry about that. That's my fault. So really quick, I'll leave you. So let me preface this by saying that I hate when people do 2 brackets because it's not what you fucking picked.
No 2 brackets.
You got to do one. You got to do one.
My friend sent me a text just to troll me this week, Alex, and he said, all it said was you do 2 brackets. And I was like, no, I don't. He's like, yes, you do. And I was like, what?
Do one.
I started getting pissed, and I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, I'm just messing with you. I'm like, oh, okay.
So I have my one that I did on the side for myself. This is not entered. This is just my personal one. But since 2000 probably 2000, my brother and myself have done one. He gets the side that has Florida or whatever, not North Carolina, pretty much, and I get the side that doesn't have Florida. So in our Elite Eight, he got the East and West side of that because Florida's over there. I got the South and Midwest because I had North Carolina over there. You're going to want to pay attention to this because I have some crazy fucking assumptions here.
It's always somebody crazy, too. So, like, the odds are if yours are crazy and mine are 1-2, 1-2, that yours are going to be right.
You also have Yale in your Sweet 16, so that's pretty impressive.
I mean, there's going to be something weird that happens. It just depends on whether you pick it or not.
Right. So, like my boy over here, I have Duke and Michigan State. I have Gonzaga and Texas Tech. I'm big on them. It really has nothing against Michigan. I just think they're a very good team. They could be Gonzaga. I have Virginia and Purdue. And then I have Kansas and Kentucky. We'll get back to that in a minute. Who are your final 4?
All right, just real quick, all I would say about yours, not that we're breaking them down or anything. Kansas has lost like 2 of their best players this year. I think the reason that they're a 4 seed is mostly by name and conference.
You think they should be lower?
Yeah. Azubuike was their best player, and they lost him like early in the season. And then what was the other one that I was gonna say that you had on there? Kansas,
UK, Purdue, Tennessee.
Oh, Purdue. Yeah,
Texas Tech.
Purdue's best player is Carson Edwards, and he's one of those guys who.
Oh, they have like 3 studs.
Right, but he's like their best player, and if he has a bad shooting night, he'll shoot him out of a game, and I think it's going to happen somewhere along the line, whether it's where you had him or earlier. Not that they're not a good team. And the Oregon thing that I said earlier, I wanted to pick Wisconsin because they're one of the teams that beat Michigan this year. But I like the 12-5 upsets a lot. If people don't know, the reason people like 12-5 upsets so much is 5 seeds are generally like major 5 conferences or the big conferences teams that did okay, and then the 12 seeds are
like the 3rd or 4th best team.
The 12 seeds are the teams that won their conference tournament.
Correct.
Like Oregon would have been maybe out of the tournament if they didn't win, but they just won.
Yeah, the Pac-12 was a fucking zoo.
Did Washington? I don't think Washington even got in, did they?
No.
Yeah, and so Washington won the regular season, I think, for the Pac-12. Oregon beat them in the Pac-12 tournament,
and then they're out.
So they're saying Pac-12 almost would have not had either one of those teams in. It's just whoever wins the conference tournament has to be in. But yeah, go ahead. We'll go to the final 4.
Who you got?
I have Michigan State, and then Virginia, North Carolina. So 2 2s and 2 1s. Again, not very controversial picks. Who cares? I usually don't go as chalky as this, but this year I think after you get past the 2s, I think a lot of people are saying this. I don't think when your 3 seeds are like Houston, Texas Tech. What are the other ones? Purdue, LSU. LSU as a 3 seed is crazy to me.
Again, they have one really good player. Other than that, they're the luckiest team on the planet. 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, you and I sat here and watched them play Kentucky. I think it was Kentucky. The most obvious goaltending one of the most obvious goaltending I've ever seen in my entire life. And you know what? I don't even think I told you this. I'm talking about our producer, Stretch. While we're watching this replay, I'm like, that's the most, like, the ball is halfway across the cylinder and they touch it. I got 3 idiots to our right screaming that he's laughing very out loud right now.
I told you I was sorry, all right?
It's like, you had left, and they're like, oh no, it's not goaltending, it's not goaltending. I'm like, you can see half the ball over the fucking cylinder. there's no volume on, which is fine because otherwise this escalates. This type of thing escalates. And afterwards, they review and they come back and they call it a shot. So you and I were just having to eat our own words at that point because they think that they know more about sports than we do. Turns out, you cannot review goaltending at the buzzer apparently. So I figured this out like the day after, and I totally forgot to tell you. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, so we were right, you were wrong. In case you guys are, refs running off the fucking field.
If you're nice enough to watch, fuck you.
Anyways, the whole point of that was that LSU's one of the luckiest teams on the planet. They had that, and then they had another big thing the following week. I can't exactly remember what it was. Either way, they won number 1 seed in the SEC tournament, and they didn't make it into the semifinals.
They lost to Auburn, I think, right?
Oh,
yeah. I'm pretty sure they lost to Auburn.
Auburn's going down in the first round. New Mexico State's got it.
Well, so Auburn, if you want to compare some of these teams to NBA teams, not in talent-wise, but just the way that if you want to compare Duke to an NBA team, possibly you could do that with like the Knicks. But if you want to compare these teams in the styles they play, Auburn is a lot like the Rockets in the way that if they make their threes, they can beat a team that's better than them. If they miss their threes, and it seems obvious to say if you make or miss your threes, they shoot a ton of threes, just like the Rockets. And if they're hitting them, they can beat anybody. But if they're not hitting them, they could lose to who are they playing in the first round?
What is that? What is that? That's fucking insane. I don't know. Jesus.
What?
No, it's good. I'm sorry. You got me a
beer?
It's a sour. Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
But yeah, LSU I think is, like I was saying, once you get to that's why my Final Four is just ones and twos.
So you got Michigan State, Michigan.
Yeah.
You got Virginia, North Carolina. Who you got in your final game?
I have Michigan and I have North Carolina. And I said this to my friend. Obviously, everyone knew I was going to pick Michigan. All right, give me a break. They're a 2 seed.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm picking let me defend myself. I'm not picking a 9 seed over here. They have, I think, 6 losses on the season. 3 of them were to Michigan State. So, I mean, if we do wind up playing them in that game. No. So if we do wind up playing in that game, I won't be as confident. Even Michigan State's point guard had like an injured toe, and we still wound up losing that game, even though we were up by 10 with 10 minutes left. But it's the tournament now. The past is in the past. So, I picked Michigan over Michigan State. What am I going to do? I'm going to pick Michigan State over Michigan? No, I'm not going to do that.
You're fine.
And then I have Virginia against North Carolina. Yeah, you didn't have Virginia in your Final Four? I guess
I do.
Okay,
I do. Yeah, we haven't said my Final Four yet.
So we're not. Just to make this point, I wanted to ask because we're not both on that train. Like, oh, they lost to a 16 seed last year, so they're like the worst of the number 1 seeds.
Right.
I think everyone knows if you watch college basketball, the style they play is not like the most entertaining, but it is effective, and they do have really good talent. I just have North Carolina against them. Their point guard, Kobe White. Funny-looking, big afro, super athletic. Their entire team's really good. And then you have Roy Williams, who, when it gets to college basketball at this time of the year, you have to look at coaches. So you have Izzo, you have Beeline, you have Roy Williams, and then, who's the Virginia head coach?
I was going to say Wright, but that's not it.
No, he's from Villanova, I think. Anyways, all these teams have good coaches, and obviously they're 1s and 2 seeds, so they have really good players. I had my final score. I guess I won't do the final score just because we're in a bracket with some of these people, but you already saw it.
All right.
But so I have Michigan beating North Carolina in the national championship game. I'll say I think it's going to be high scoring. I hope that happens. That's my dream that it happens. I was telling one of my friends, I think this is the best Michigan team since the Fab Five. And we made it to the championship game in, I think it was like 2 out of the last 6 or 7 years. I don't remember what year the Louisville one was.
Jeff Jones, I guess, is the head coach.
No, that's not the Virginia head coach.
Well, maybe my dad was trying to tag somebody because that's what dads do, and it looks like only the Jones part is highlighted, so probably.
No, I know his name too. I just can't think of it. But yeah, we can go to your Final Four. I think everybody kind of knew who I was going to have.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Who everybody knew I was going to have winning it all.
Okay, so obviously, really quickly, if you guys, I would love for you guys to comment and tell me how wrong I am on this, but because Stuart certainly did when we were talking on the phone earlier today. Tony Bennett. So I have, shockingly, Duke. I'm going to go on the line there. Gonzaga, Virginia, which are 3 number 1 seeds, and then I have Kansas actually coming out of that bottom right region. It's the craziest region to me. Yeah, obviously North Carolina, Kentucky, and Kansas. I don't, that was a great opinion. I think Kansas just got in based on name alone. They lost their 2 best players this year. Out of that, I have Gonzaga beating Duke. They've already done it once this year. So, and I have Kansas beating Virginia. So this is going to be the only way that I win money is if Kansas gets anywhere near the Elite Eight. That would be great. And then I have Gonzaga beating Kansas. Or sorry, I keep saying I, but it's myself and my brother Stuart. So we have been known to do very well. We went 29-3 one year in the first round. I've never heard of anybody doing better amongst my own friends. I'm sure that there's been a lot of people that have done very much better than that.
It's not a terrible way to go. I mean, if you're relying on Kansas to make it far, I mean, I do think that because they lose their two best players, I mean, they still have the coaching, they still have other talent on the team. So if Kansas does make it, it's not like you're going out on a limb and saying like, I don't know, Murray State's going to make it, or like you're not putting your hopes.
I'm tired of people talking about that single player. That's absurd to me.
No, well, the only thing, if we're going into single, I guess now that we have our picks in, and who'd you have winning it all? Gonzaga?
Yeah.
Which, yeah, it's not crazy. Like Gonzaga already beat Duke. Most people, even though 66% of people pick Duke to win on brackets, I think a lot of people don't want to pick Duke just because, like you said earlier when we were talking.
That's an interesting point.
If you pick Duke, you're only going to win if the person that also picked Duke and you're going against them.
If you're better beforehand.
If you beat them beforehand, yeah.
Because everyone's picking Duke.
If you have any other champion or any other, but then not like you're going to feel stupid when Duke's playing somebody in the national championship and they're favored by 8 and you have the other team.
Right.
But yeah,
probably if they play Kansas.
A couple of the.
I'm just making fun of myself. If they play Kansas national championship, they will be favored by 8 or more.
A couple of the game you were saying about the single player, talking about Ja Morant for Murray State. It's kind of weird because the way that they set this up is almost arbitrary. Like it goes by region and record and all that kind of stuff. But they can kind of put people where they want to make the storylines they want happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so Michigan played at 3:30. And they were one of the last games.
Well, time zones, yes.
Well, as far as the brackets, they had mostly everything already figured out. The selection show came on right after the Michigan game, so they already had everything figured out. So, I mean, you have Marquette and Murray State, a 12-5 game, but also in the Marquette has a guy named Marcus Howard who can score like 40 points in a game, and it wouldn't shock anybody. And then Murray State has a guy like Ja Morant. So instead of like moving those seeds around, you have two of the most interesting players in the tournament playing in a 12-5 matchup.
I'm not calling you wrong. If I had to guess, I wouldn't say that that's why it is, but maybe
it was a coincidence, but that's a crazy coincidence that two of the players that anyone who doesn't really watch that much college basketball know, it's Zion Williamson and the other guys on Duke. And then for Marquette, it's Marcus Howard. Marcus is with a K. Not that that's relevant, but if you didn't know. But he can score 40. He's done it at least once this season. And then Ja Morant, who people compare to Russell Westbrook. So that's going to be like one of the more entertaining games in the first round. The way Michigan's bracket is set up is if we beat Montana and Florida beats Nevada, we'll play Florida. So I think Nevada might win that game, but I kind of picked Florida just because I'm rooting for Michigan to play Florida in the second round, just for like the entertainment value. I know a lot of Gators fans, so.
Gators fans suck. They do.
They do. They really. I mean, all fans suck when their team is good, though. But that would make them not suck this year. So, do you think just going on like a more like drawn out view of the tournament, if you had to pick a number 1 seed that would lose, like who's going to be the odds are most number 1 seeds, all 4 are not going to be in the Final Four. So who do you think is going to be the first number 1 seed to lose? Not just if you have it on your bracket, but why do you think?
I would say
it's UNC, Gonzaga, Duke, and Virginia.
Honestly, I think this might be a little unpopular, but just by the talent in the rest of their group, I would say either Duke or North Carolina, because Duke is more than likely going to run into Michigan State, who you know all too well, and then North Carolina is going to run into more than likely either Auburn or Kansas or Kentucky. So I would say one of those two, even though Virginia and Gonzaga seem to be the lesser, favored teams.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think that it would be Duke or North Carolina that would be favored to lose earlier. What about you?
Well, just like I was saying earlier, I love North Carolina. I like them to make it to the championship game. But as far as like my bracket goes, if Auburn beats New Mexico State and Kansas, Auburn is a team that if they hit more than half of their threes, they could definitely beat North Carolina. And then on the other side, Syracuse, for some reason, teams don't like playing Syracuse because of their zone defense and the whole Boeheim thing. It used to be like called a gimmick, but Well, I mean, people called it a gimmick, and now people are like, oh, I don't want to play that team. So if a number 1 seed has to play Syracuse and Jim Boeheim in the second round, that's kind of a shitty draw for them. I watch a lot of college basketball, but I couldn't tell you who the guards are for Gonzaga. I know the main thing to beat a zone is good guards. So that's why I would be more confident for Michigan to if Syracuse came out of there or Gonzaga. But, I mean, I don't think Gonzaga would be happy to see Syracuse in the second game, like as a number 1 seed. Like, that's kind of a bad draw for them.
So when my brother and I were going over some of these games, the one game that we kind of stalled on was the Syracuse-Baylor game, and we sat there in silence for about 4 seconds, and Stuart finally said, fucking Boeheim, man.
Yeah,
We just put Cuse down, just fucking do it. I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's just, coaching obviously has a lot to do with this. Another reason why I picked Kansas in my final game for the Bill fucking self. Brian Bond says, I think Tennessee can get to the Final Four if they beat Cincinnati. I truly have my doubts about that game. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, obviously Virginia isn't a super strong number 1 because all they do is give up 50 points a game and they score 56. So
yeah, well, Tennessee also could have been a 1 seed. So a lot of the 2 seeds you could say could have been 1 seeds if this happened or if that didn't happen. But when you're looking at you can't just assume they're playing Cincinnati. Like the 7-10 matchups are no guarantees.
Right.
But the thing about that is even if they do beat Cincinnati, they're going to either have to beat Purdue or Villanova. And then even Old Dominion and St. Mary's, if either one of those upsets happen, those 14 and 11 seeds are 2 of the better 14 or 11 seeds. I think Tennessee could beat anybody. They could also lose to Purdue. Or Villanova. I mean, I hate Villanova with a passion.
I think you're right.
You can't deny their coaching and their shooting.
Out of the 2 seeds, just based on the I guess the path that they have to go through, I think Tennessee actually has the toughest path.
Yeah, and then on the top of their bracket, you have Wisconsin or Oregon. Oregon's, I mean, as much as you were saying a Pac-12 team could be hot right now. We talked about how garbage that conference was this year.
So bad.
But even if Wisconsin were to beat them, even if there's an upset, if you're not playing Virginia, you're playing a Wisconsin team who beat Michigan, who beat other good Big Ten teams. So they have a pretty tough draw considering that they're a 2 seed. But like I said, it's the tournament. The teams that worry me the most for upsets and everything, I think it kind of trickles down. Like from the NBA, everybody's shooting threes now. So a lot of these college teams are starting to have the same kind of system. So whereas it used to be you would never see a 16 or a 15 or a 14 seed regularly beat these teams. If you're a lower seed and you're shooting these threes, if you wind up making like 20 threes in a game or something crazy like that, it just kind of changes the math on talent. Like you can have the talent, but if you run a system where if you make your threes, you're going to win the game. I think it's going to make for like a really crazy tournament this year. I kind of picked the 1s and 2s, but I wouldn't be surprised to see some team that shoots like 30 threes a game or something like that come out of nowhere and just get hot.
Well, that leaves you a lot of ground to not be wrong. I like that.
No, I stick by my bracket. I mean,
well, Stuart mentioned me earlier on the week. He actually backed you up. I don't know why I didn't mention this earlier, but he said it was a very top-heavy tournament this year. I think to your point, I think that is correct. I mean,
well, it's almost
the 1s and 2s, and me going way out on a limb with Kansas. I think.
Yeah,
you might not be wrong with that.
When going out on a limb is to pick Kansas as a 4 seed, but it's almost like you had 8 number 1 seeds because at any point in the year, any of these 2 seeds could have been 1 seeds. But I don't think at any point in the year, any of the 3 seeds could have been 1 seeds. It's almost like it's the top 8 teams and then everybody else.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the best chance out of all those would have been fucking shit. So this is. And
then I will get you.
This is Neil, the owner of Shamrocks and Public House.
Do you want to make a pick for the college national championship for basketball?
Padres.
Padres.
All right.
Here's the Padres.
You heard it. You heard it here first.
Heard
Padres.
it here first, boys.
Manny Machado. Mr. Merch.
But yeah, there you go. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll do my while you talk.
All right.
But yeah, come see Public House and Shamrocks on University of Alabama, right behind Applebee's.
How do you think Manny Machado is going to wind up facing off against Zion? Do you think he's going to be able to post him up, or what would you say about that?
I like how it said for you to take the lead while I took the shot, and then you asked me an immediate question. It's good stuff.
All right.
Let's go with.
Did you hear earlier in the week? There's always the conversation of, and I always think it's crazy to say this. They did it when Alabama, and they say, could they beat the Jaguars when the Jaguars suck? It's so dumb, right? All right. I kind of wish somebody around here would agree with that, but when you say
we got a full bar. We can find somebody.
Does anybody think Duke could hang with the Knicks or the Bulls or anybody like that?
I'll be the first person to put my Magic in there, but.
Magic are almost a playoff
I know.
team.
I'm just trying to be.
That would be.
I'm trying to be indifferent. You know, I do love my Magic. But to answer your question,
no, it's impossible.
Absolutely not.
No. What would be the spread on?
Absolutely.
What would be the spread on? Who has the worst record right now? Is it the Knicks? What would be the spread on Duke versus the Knicks? I mean, you could put it on pay-per-view and I would pay to watch it, but
25 Knicks, maybe 30.
No, it's got to be 40.
Oh, I like it. I thought you were gonna say lower.
No, it's got to be like 40 points.
Knicks don't have a lot of shooters.
Knicks are 14 and 57. Suns are 17 and 55.
Stewart says Zion already has problems with his knee. You can't afford to have Machado kick the shit out of his calf.
Oh, you saw the player try
Look forward to this next week.
You saw the player try to trip him the other day, right?
Fucking.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, we didn't try to trip him." Yeah, you did. There's video now, you know. But yeah.
there was one of the best ones was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, when Alabama, I believe, won the national championship, and the Browns were 0-16, and a majority of my family is Alabama fans and Browns fans, believe it or not, because we were from both places. And there was a huge thing about, like, would Alabama beat the Browns, and there was a fucking shocking, huge lead of people saying that would happen. Look, we all know, because they're like, well, all Alabama players are pro players anyway. Not yet, bitch.
Yeah,
Not yet, bitch. The fucking Browns went 0-16. Guess what? They're all better than that. That's just, it drives me fucking nuts. We have professional, grown men against guys who are still a year away.
Well, the Suns had Zion from last year. His name's DeAndre Ayton, who everyone forgot about because he went to Phoenix. They're in last place. So if you put Zion on the Knicks, I mean, I'm sorry, Knicks fans. I'm sorry, Stretch.
I've been meaning to bring that up.
Still probably
going
to be in last place.
Thank God you mentioned that, because when he was the next guy, right? He was a fucking ion. He's going to be fucking unreal.
But they look similar.
Like Charles Barkley and LeBron.
They even look similar, though.
They do. You're 100%. And obviously, he's not going to turn the whole franchise around. But at the same time, how many times have you heard Ion's name this year? Unless you're a hardcore NBA follower. Probably not a lot.
The conversation to me that I've heard that's more interesting is if you put LeBron on, like, what's the lowest seed you could put LeBron on and they win the championship? You think it's 16?
Well, it depends on the team, though.
Does it?
Well, yeah, okay. Well, if because the East is fucking a mess. If the Sixers get the 8th seed.
No. I'm saying in the college tournament. It's too normal what you're talking about.
That's a fun one.
Because we just saw it with the Lakers and it didn't work.
Also depends on the team a little bit, but not nearly as much as the NBA. Ooh, that's fun.
I think everyone's just going to foul out.
Man.
You know what I have heard?
Funny. It'd be funny because if you put them on a 16 seed.
I've heard people talking about the team that's also from Durham, Carolina. I don't know if it's NDS or NCC. But they apparently practice and they scrimmage with Duke and stuff, and they're saying that might be one to watch if you want to bet on a 16 seed to keep it close.
If you put him on Colgate, which is a 15,
just the name alone makes me think you couldn't do
well,
it.
I'll do you one better. That's where Donald Foyle went, Colgate, who was the #1 recruit in the nation.
Well, what seed is Colgate?
15.
I don't see it.
They're playing Tennessee.
It's a 15.
Oh, it's a 15.
There you go.
It's a 15, everybody.
I win 2 weeks in a row.
No. Your streak was broken. I fucked up royally last week. It was fucking great. Either way, you play Donald Foyle, really quickly, was the #1 recruit coming out of high school, and he chose to go to Colgate. He had offers from everywhere, but he chose to go to a shitty school, try to make them good, and then he ended up going decently high. You know, didn't have a great NBA career, but I thought that's very notable. Anyways, if LeBron is on Colgate, playing Tennessee, sorry Tennessee, Then you got Cincinnati, Iowa. No. Purdue. Nope.
If it depends on the matchup, I would
Virginia,
say
no.
if he's on Gardner-Webb, he could definitely score 60 against Virginia, and they would maybe hold him to like 59.
I like where your head's at there. I do.
If
No,
you're
honestly.
talking about matchups, right?
Because that was where I was about to go before I was really interrupted about Virginia. But no, I like where you're going.
He could score.
I seriously do. I like that.
He could
with
score.
Gardner-Webb.
He could score 60 and hold them to
He
59.
could get to the Final Four without a doubt. Now, then it happens if it's like North Carolina. Man, Gardner-Webb. I think he could take Gardner-Webb.
Yeah.
I love what you just did there. That's fantastic.
He still has eligibility. I'm pretty
Now,
sure.
now, LeBron James on Gardner-Webb versus Duke in the championship game. Where are we at?
Zion's falling out though. He's gonna.
Well, I was going to argue the opposite. I bet everybody just goes and go. I can't wait to read the comments that we've had on here. SIP game is so strong. I love it. That would be a very interesting game because obviously every team, all they have to do is just do a billion pump fakes on fucking LeBron and then hope to God that he does it.
Whatever team LeBron's on, he's playing center for him.
That's also a very good point.
I mean, he'd be the best center in NCAA. He'd be the best at any position, but he could play.
That's also a very good point. We got Brian Bond saying Tennessee could totally beat anybody at night, but they're very thin and unlike most teams.
LeBron on UCF?
Chip.
Over Duke?
Chip.
Stretch says Chip.
Give me a second.
You got to think about it.
Yeah.
But then you can't sit Taco. I mean, that's your best player, so you got to play big.
Okay, so are we going LeBron to UCF as a 9 seed, or are we going LeBron on Colgate as a 15 seed?
No.
I thought that was the question.
As the teams are now.
That was the question. The lowest seed you could put them on.
Yeah, I think.
But you had the best contradicting question there, because honestly everyone's going to probably say Duke, even though I had Gonzaga winning. Duke over almost anybody else, so you have to knock them out early. Because if Duke is out, then honestly it's a fucking free for all. So right. I think you're right on that.
Yeah, I mean I'd pay to see it. I'd pay to see that on pay-per-view either way. Do you have any comments? Anything anybody wants to talk about?
Well, hang on. I got to call out some fucking family members right now because I'm getting my sip game is strong. Look, bitch. All right. I was drinking a little bit earlier. I played some golden tea. I'm good to go. I'm not known for taking shots very quickly, but I'm known for continuing to take shots. Tate.
Oh, were they being sarcastic?
Oh, I'm getting called out, which is fine. I love it.
I thought it was for drinking too much.
Good stuff. No, my sip game is strong, meaning when I had a shot, I took a sip out of it. I'll explain it later.
Oh, I see. I get it.
Jokes are always funnier when you explain them later.
Right, yeah.
But Zion already has problems with his knee. Can't afford to have him a child. Now we're all back to that. Sorry. Could Brett beat my Toto? Oh, honestly, this is a great comment that got thrown under the bus earlier when I was talking about myself and my brother Stuart fighting. It'd be like 2 plastic grocery bags in the wind, just kind of tussling. No one winning at all. Just being fucking like it.
It's like an NBA fight almost.
Oh, correct. And my dad, yeah. Brian Bond says Donald Foyle picked Colgate over every college in America. Oh, gee.
So we have our championship picks. I have Michigan. You have Gonzaga. Do you want to touch on any of these free agent moves? Some of them are more funny to me than actually like people need to hear about it. I would say Blake Bortles to the Rams. Good for him. I mean, I was saying earlier, it's kind of like if Jared Goff got hurt, he's the kind of quarterback they can have to not suck his way to the Super Bowl. I mean, he not sucked his way to an AFC Championship game. So with the Rams, I mean, I think he could also do something similar. So that's a good signing for them. Fitzpatrick to the Dolphins, that was the funny one to me. People are saying it's an upgrade over Ryan Tannehill. I think that's a little weird to say. I know
You might not be wrong.
Tannehill's not like the best quarterback, but when he was healthy last year, he did really well.
I would say really well.
In the first like 4 or 5 games, didn't they go 4-0 or something like that? Yeah.
What does everybody say? And Tate's gonna fucking chime in about 30 seconds because I'm sorry, our comments are like a few seconds behind, which is fine. Probably for editing reasons. But to your point, every year the Dolphins start off 3-1, correct? 3-1.
Fair enough. Except
And
for
then
the year that they
and
went.
again, I
0-16.
don't mean I don't mean this in a bad way, but yeah.
I'm not a
all they do
Dolphins
is they
fan. Don't
always
stick
start
me in
off
that group.
Just saying,
I'm a
they
proud
start
Lions
so
fan.
well, and then it's just like the mid half of the season they go like 500, and then the second half they go bad, or vice versa. In the middle of the season they go under 500, and then they end it like 500, and then they're like, oh, we got. I really don't mind the Dolphins. Let the record show.
Are you going to put in a futures bet for the Browns to win the Super Bowl at 14-1?
Did you text him to tell me this? I will say.
I have Michigan.
Here's what I bet happens. Here's what I bet happens.
Literally bet.
No, not actually bet.
Oh.
Not literally bet. But here's what I bet happens, only because this would only happen to me. I pray to God I'm still in the frame. Get this mug. So the happiest moment of my life,
Last week with the
other
Odell
than
Beckham
dating
trade.
Ashley,
The Odell Beckham trade last week.
was the God, not that. Was the Cubs winning the World Series. I mean, obviously, no one's gonna deny that for any Cubs fan. That also happened against a team that I have grown up watching, the Indians. Like my whole family's Indians fans. That was okay. I don't need to say any more about that because of where I'm going. I bet that the Cowboys play the Browns this fucking Super Bowl, and it's gonna be absolutely heart-wrenching for me, and I don't even know if I'm gonna watch it.
Cowboys and Indians.
Did I say Indians?
No, you were talking about you're an Indians
okay.
fan.
Okay.
I already knew this, but the odds I was getting with you on the Michigan bet, 100 to win 100. I have 25 to win 300, so I really should have just gone with the 100 there to win the, what would that have been, 1,200 times 4?
Something like that. Anyway, so yeah, Cowboys Browns is what I would say. Knowing my luck would happen because it would be the most excruciating thing of all time. That
Yeah,
means
but
I would cry if the Browns won the Super Bowl
I think-
because they've been through so much. I wouldn't cry if the Cowboys won the Super Bowl because we have.
I mean, at the end of the day, both of your teams will be in the Super Bowl. You can't lose either way.
Yes, I can. That's what the whole thing. Like Cubs and the Indians, that was the most excruciating time ever. It fucking sucked. It sucked, and it also sucked the way it happened too. The Indians were up 3-1. Like I would have rather it be Cubs, Blue Jays, or Indians and stupid ass. I was gonna say Nationals. I forgot who would be to get there, but either way.
I've never cried from winning.
Dodgers. Dodgers.
I cried in the Smoky Bones bathroom when Michigan lost to Louisville, and then I cried in my car when we lost to Villanova. But I've never cried from winning because we never win. So hopefully this is the year. I mean, 2 seed, like I said, I think it's the is it crazy to say, Stretch, is the best Michigan team since Fab 5? I don't think it's crazy to say that.
Sorry, I wasn't laughing at that. Sorry.
No, laughing.
While we were talking about that, Stuart said, "Is he going to say something about Odell?" Bet. This is before I didn't check this before he even started going on a rant.
What about Odell? He's gonna win MVP next year.
Why is it? See, these are the comments that we're gonna save for next week. Because Stuart said, "Why isn't Brett talking about how we were, I'm assuming, so happy when the Cavs won?" It's short answer this week, LeBron. Long answer, tune in next week. In the words of the infamous T.O., bring ya fucking popcorn. Minus the fucking part.
That's a teaser. I think it was like, get your fucking popcorn ready.
You didn't say fun.
No. I think we both just said it, yeah.
Get your popcorn ready.
Say get your popcorn ready.
It was a mix of both.
I wonder what Baker is. What are the odds for Baker for MVP next year? Why would you not put a bet on the Browns to win the Super Bowl next year? People put bets
My
on way
uncle
crazier
has
things.
put a bet on the Browns to win the Super Bowl for the past 20 years.
Yeah, but half of those are just like for fun, for $1. Because they're like 100 to 1.
I'm not going to put his financial business out there.
He must have a lot of money to lose.
No, we're actual fans is what it is.
They don't even have the odds up right now.
So anyways, yes, Cleveland fans are actual fans because we went through more than anybody else. It almost pains me that I'm a Cowboys fan, but I still like the Browns. I have fucking Browns shirts and jerseys and hats and all that shit. If they play the Cowboys, I always pull for the Cowboys, but that's just the team I chose, and I feel like it's cheating if you switch.
This is always the time of the year, too, that I forget that True TV is a thing.
Oh, right.
How did they get-
why the fuck is he going there?
Well, look,
It's almost random, but it's because of the tournament.
Yeah,
the tournament, okay, you're good. TBS.
How do they get the rights to the games? Those are like $1 million rights. That's crazy.
Saved up for years, man. Fucking
All that
impractical jokers, bro.
Cops money?
They got it.
Yeah,
they got it.
If you guys are interested, if you're degenerate gamblers like us, we have Belmont -3 tonight. The game doesn't even start till 9:10, so I was expecting Temple to be up at like 15 at this point.
I like Stuart saying that, are either one of you getting up to watch the Mariners versus the A's, which is an actual MLB game?
What time is that at? And when?
It is, well, as far as we're concerned, it's tonight. But the MLB season, you know.
Spring training's over. There's a real game in the early hours of tomorrow.
They play in Japan, which, to my knowledge, is slightly west of here.
I think it's just a
Set game strong, bitch.
it's equidistant from the Warriors to this.
I knew right away where I was like, oh, he's going right there. Damn it.
I even threw in an SAT word with equidistant.
And you were right, too. You were right.
Same thing.
I think it's on the 23rd. I don't think it's tonight. It's
Yeah,
on the 23rd.
that's not even close because today's like the 19th.
I think it's on the 23rd. Either way.
Will I get up to watch it? It depends what day of the week it is. I mean, I'll probably stay up to watch it.
Typical dad comment talking about like this person was this person was this person was this person's friend of mine. That's good. Belmont's coach was my Tennessee Volunteers summer basketball camp coach back in 1973. He was a college kid then, Ricky Bird, and we won the tournament. Very well done. They should have called the Ichiro opener. Okay, there you go.
You don't really have a college basketball? Oh, I mean, but the Gators, yeah.
Yeah.
So what
my
are we?
house is all Gator shit.
So what are we gonna do if it's Michigan Gators in the second round?
Oh, we talked about this, but I'm almost upset that you made me talk about this on camera. Michigan will beat us.
I don't know.
I don't think we'll beat Nevada, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
I don't either. I just picked it in my bracket because I really want to play Florida and beat the shit out of them. But then again, if we lost, I would not come on next week.
No bets. I know you're probably looking forward to that.
No, not that we would bet on it.
No bets.
I was talking to my friend Tyler, and I said I didn't even think they were going to make the tournament. What was it, 18, 19, and 14, or 19 and 15?
19-15.
Yeah, that's, I mean, it's 64 teams, that's fine. But
No, do not get it. Do not get it twisted. Apparently, the middle schooler came out at me. It's not 64 teams. There's 64, so that's 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72. Oh, that's weird. 72 teams in the fucking tournament, which makes absolutely no goddamn sense.
In case anybody picked either Fairleigh Dickinson or Prairie View to win your championship, we have a nail biter here. Fairleigh Dickinson is up 78, 76. Oh, I'm not allowed to do this, am I?
No one gives a shit. Anyways,
72
teams is way too
78, 76 with 48 seconds left. Where's True TV?
Anyways, 72 teams is way too much.
No, it's not.
Do I get my own mic next week? No, you get your own mic. Stuart, you get your own mic next week.
No, you just have to yell really close to one
That's
of
what
us.
he just said. Or next week, or do I have to shout into Marty's chest, asking for a friend? Stuart, you get your own mic. It's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna try my damnedest to be sober the entire time because I think that might make it, believe it or not, actually a lot better.
Do you know what kind of shirts you're gonna wear? Do you have a guess?
Ooh, I like this. He'll probably wear. Fuck, so I gotta drive that fucking dickhead from the airport, I think. So he'll.
Where is he coming from?
Fucking Pennsylvania, because he lived in Nashville for forever.
It's warm here, just so you know.
You know, it's funny. He grew up. I'm gonna save that little gem for next week, and he knows what I'm talking about.
I was gonna tell you to save the referee thing too. It would have been a lot funnier just to come on and.
No, I got all the ammunition. It's like when you're playing like a first-person shooter and you run over like the ammo and nothing happens. I got it. We're good. We're
Or
good.
when you kill somebody in Call of Duty and then you just hit the squat button on top of their head a bunch of times.
You're fucking fine. You just got to be prepared to chug a Coors Light in the old Honda Fit. I drove the most manliest car on the planet, by the way.
We should ice him.
He won't see it coming. So that's good.
Even better if he suspects it. It's sitting behind the laptop.
Yeah, there you go.
Damn it! Now he's really gonna know what happened.
Yeah, glove compartment, something.
So yeah, Mike Trout. I mean, we didn't really touch on the NBA playoffs. We got another week. We got 12 more games to go. And I think next week we'll probably talk mostly about how wrong our brackets were and how nobody knew St. Louis was gonna win except for Brett.
And yeah, and pet peeves that have been stewing for no pun intended
Yeah.
for probably 12 to 30 years. So we'll figure something out. It's gonna be a lot next week, guys. Seriously, tune in. I can't even talk right now. Seriously, tune in next week. It's gonna be a lot
Almost
of
as
fun.
explosive as last week's Odell Beckham news, Fairleigh Dickinson overcomes 13-point deficit to beat Prairie View in the first NCAA tournament win. It's officially kicked off. Or they'll play Gonzaga. Other
So they have more wins than Gonzaga does now. That makes a lot of sense, right?
until next week. Then they'll be tied.
Not you. It just drives. Anyways,
Who cares? I mean,
in.
the tournament.
who cares? Keep it rolling.
The
Why?
tournament's not suffering. Everybody watches this more than they watch anything else. Like it's not.
No one's watching on TV.
So what does it matter? You just don't pay attention to it. Who cares? Stretch is watching it right now. He's been watching the whole time.
So
He's been
then,
at the bar.
then just make it 108.
I'd be down for a 5-month tournament. All right, let me put it to you this way. Nobody has watched any of the first 30-something games that they've played. So what's the problem
You're
with...
right on that. You're right on
so
that.
if you just made the entire college basketball season a triple elimination tournament,
Triple.
I guarantee you,
Don't have-
you make a bracket that's like the size of like a True Detective bulletin board of like things crisscrossing. It's like, wow, Duke got their first loss in the first month of the season. It's almost like when your best player gets 2 fouls in the first 5 minutes. It's like, what's going to happen the rest of the time? I don't understand. This is like everyone loves this tournament and you're criticizing it. That's like the only thing you can come up with is too many teams. It's 2 weeks.
It is not. It's a whole month. March Madness.
We're in the middle of March. It hasn't started yet.
The championship game is in April.
Well, it's April Super Madness. It's like the 20th and it hasn't started yet. It's just March Madness because it's an alliteration. Like it just makes sense. It could be called April Awesomeness. Oh, there's too many teams. Nobody even knows these games are going on.
Well, then cancel them. No one knows they're going on. Cancel them.
It's cool for the teams, you know. Fairleigh Dickinson, they got a big win.
So you're telling me if you're the double 16 seed, you consider yourself made the tournament because
Yes!
you did make.
They hang banners for that stuff. This is where legends are made. March Madness, baby.
No. Let's get out of here before I start treating him like my actual brother.
Shutting
We'll
the
fucking
studio
figure it
down.
out.
Let's get a sugar cookie and a midget holding these balloons.
One of these days, I'm going to try to get our. We're going to try to figure out a way to get some type of like post podcast. Like, there's not going to be any video. It'll just be volume. So like an actual podcast on online. But one of these days we'll figure that out, which will be fucking fantastic. It's my fault that it's actually going so slow. But
Probably get more viewers if people don't have to look at our faces.
I didn't even thought of that. That actually is
It
pretty
could be.
solid.
It could be a really big thing holding us back. People love
Except that
Stretch.
it's not.
People love Stretch. You never see him
We'll just put Stretch's face and then let's do talking. That's what we'll do. We'll figure it out.
with like a digital mouth moving.
Right. Anyways,
This is a little bit
Well,
of a stat head, so I'm going to say no on
This
that.
has gone on long enough.
anyways,
Earl Thomas
thank you
Reagan.
guys so much for tuning in. As always, we really appreciate it. This is the
People's Podcast.
People's
Podcast.
Podcast. So, thank you guys. As always, my mic is already falling out. We're good. We will be back next week with special guest Stuart Bond. He will be well positioned over there. Might have to bring the mic out. Might have to bring some cones. That way, we'll figure something out. We're
gonna have a penalty box.
We might have a penalty box. We'll figure something out. Some type of like 2-minute penalty, like the mute button or something like that.
I'll have flags.
I like it. I like it. But anyways, thank you guys so much. Seriously, I really do appreciate you guys make our whole podcast. It's not about us. It's about you. You guys are awesome, and we will see you next week. Okay? See you guys later. Go Gonzaga.